Welcome to another episode of The Latest to Admire. Today, I am so happy to have a conversation with musician and actor Augie Isaac. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so excited to be talking with you.
So glad to be here to join the list of esteemed Maya's World guests. Thank you for having me.
Um, so so let's get started. So who has had the biggest impact on you professionally?
Wow, that's a big question. There's been so many people. I mean, obviously, like when it comes to just encouragement and like work ethic, my parents are huge. But I think the best answer for this is actually sort of like my second dad, which is my best friend Dylan's dad, Kevin, who is sort of a filmmaker, musician, sort of everything. And so we grew up, me, Dylan, and his dad, Kevin, we grew up just like making a bunch of stuff, just always making things, making little short films. He would help us with me and Dylan's like ideas for web series and little things like that. And he was always like making little musical parodies of songs and things like that. And so being around that, someone who was not only very creative, but also someone who executed and would make a plan start to finish and make it all happen, that was so influential to me because we would never get stuck in the planning phase and then just move on to the next project. It was always like, let's finish this one because that's how you can learn and then get better for the next one. So that is, I think, the biggest lesson and the biggest like mentor that I've had over the years. And me and Dylan met when we were 5 years old. So it's always been someone in my life who's been a very positive like force of creativity.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. So who has had the biggest impact on you as a person?
I would say it's changed over time. Just as like your best friend can change, the most important person personally has changed over time. Um, I would say right now, I would say like the most important, the biggest effect anyone has probably had on me personally, is my girlfriend, Michaela. Um, We've been dating for 3 years now, and we are, I don't want to say fully opposites, but quite opposite in our just how we attack the world and the things that we worry about. And I think the level of level-headedness that she has, along with the level of like vulnerability and honesty, those two things paired together help her live her life in a very calm but yet excited and positive way. And so seeing that and being the closest person to her day in and day out has had such a big effect on me. And it's funny because uh I obviously make music, and the most of it that I've released up until this point, I've been doing it for 4 years now. Most of it that I've released has been very upset type of music, upset or angsty, heartbroken, or something like that. And I'm starting to compile songs to release that I've been sort of like that I've half finished over the last year or two. And so many of them are like so like positive and like take in the world and things of that nature, like hopeful and very observant and very, I guess, more nuanced than like, oh, everything sucks right now. So that's definitely an effect of her, Michaela.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love all of your music. Do you
Thank
have
you.
yeah. Yeah, I constantly have it on repeat. So
That's an honor.
Um, so do you have a specific songwriting process or any rituals that you do before writing a song?
When it comes to like the conception of a song, I try not to think too much about it and kind of let the flow happen. A lot of the times it will come from like when I'm just feeling a really strong feeling. Sometimes it's just like and that's why a lot of the early stuff was very angsty because obviously that's like a very strong feeling when you're feeling super anxious or when you're feeling super down, like that's a very visceral thing. And so when I'm feeling like that or just any really strong feeling and I'm near any instrument or something, that's usually where I go because it kind of is an outlet of like sort of a journal entry at times. So that can be a way I start a song a lot of the time. A lot of my favorites start that way. But a lot of the time, I try to make something like every day, not a full song, but I try to start something every day because, the more shots you take, the more you learn, the more failures you'll have, and altogether, the more successes you'll have, and you'll discover more stuff. So I try to, if I'm not like feeling any specific type of way, I'll just start on an instrument or maybe even start with like a drum beat that I make on my keyboard and just kind of loop it and see. And it's just more of like a little playful thing. It's kind of like free sketching or anything in any art form. I just kind of let it flow. So many of the times I get like a 20-second loop that is just playing over and over. And it just sucks. Like, but it takes me like a half hour, 45 minutes, and then I'm like, I just know. I'm like, yeah, all right, well, this was a failure, but it's fun. And there are moments also where like I'll do that and it'll be like, well, that was a failure. All right, see you tomorrow. But then maybe I discovered a sound or a specific instrument that I had never used before and used it in a new way. And then when I am in the flow of writing something that I'm really, really excited about, and then I think I need something here. Oh my gosh, that thing from that, 10-second little uh loop that sucked. That would be perfect here. That's happened so many times. So all in all, there's no specific way that I start or my process, but I just try to keep creating and let it flow and not try to force it because you never know where the inspiration can come from.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so cool. Yeah, I love I love writing lyrics. Like that's always been a way for me to get every like anything I'm feeling, like I can just get it out with writing.
Yeah, there's something about it. I've tried
Yeah.
journaling so many times. I've tried to get into the habit of it, and it works, but I don't know, there's just something, especially because I love art and I think there's something about combining and being very thoughtful about what you're saying. Because whenever like I journal, it's just like pages and pages of like, oh yeah, and then I did this, and I was thinking about this, and blah blah blah. But something about being thoughtful about your thoughts,
Yeah.
I don't know, makes you see them more clearly, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely agree. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of journaling, so I don't do that. But yeah, writing lyrics is like the way I do that.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, I've heard journaling is healthy, but I can't get on the wave. But I guess I
Yeah,
just musically journal. So that'll
yeah,
that'll work. That'll
yeah.
count.
Yeah. Um, so is there a song either of yours or someone else's that always brings a tear to your eye?
Oh my gosh. For a long time, the answer was no. Also, that's my cat back there. She just went in to go to the bathroom. For a long time, the answer was no. Um, I cry a ton at movies and TV, but for some
Yeah,
reason, music, not as much. And I also am newer to music as a creator and a listener, so maybe that's why. But there is a song that was released like a year ago or something, and it's called Pendant, and it's by an artist called Kuko. and it is just a really beautiful song. I believe that it was written as his grandfather was like passing away, or maybe it was written right after. And with that context in mind, it is just such a it's a really beautiful song because it's sort of like the first half is very like forlorn and grieving, and then the second half picks up and it's sort of like a celebration of the person that he's missing. And I really think it's really special, especially when music is so short, songs are so short, to be able to, effortlessly create nuance in a song when it comes to lyricism. It's so easy to be like, this is how I'm feeling and this is it. But to sort of like reel yourself back, and because life is nuanced like that, nothing is like a full drama or a full comedy or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that song is really beautiful because it just feels all encapsulating of like a grieving process. So that
Yeah.
that would be the answer.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So is there an artist or a song that you consider to be the gold standard when it comes to songwriting and storytelling?
Ooh, storytelling too. Yeah, that throws a wrench in it. I mean, there's a ton of songs that are on my like tens. Um, but I'm gonna go with the Zag, a song I never really talk about because the storytelling on it is really fantastic. And it's just a great song. But it's called Water Damage, and it's by a small indie. It's one of those things where it's like a guy, but it sounds like a band, but it's just one guy that makes the music. The artist is called Arlie. Arlie. It's called Water Damage, and it's basically they never. So the song is about a guy losing his phone in the pool, and then he doesn't have his phone, and he starts to like take in the world for the first time, like listening to little conversations, noticing things that he wouldn't have noticed before. But they never like say the word phone or like technology or anything. It's all written really well, but if you just take a listen, you'll see. But like maybe he wasn't even talking about a phone. Maybe he was talking about like a pack of cigarettes or something like that. But it's written in a beautiful way where whatever you attach your vice to, you can picture that being the thing that got like broken and that you're sort of having to do life without and realizing that there's more to it. So I think that's a fantastic song.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm going to look that up right after the interview because I haven't heard of this artist before.
Yeah, check it out. It's a cool one, and he has a bunch of great songs.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, Macy Peters is one of my favorite artists and her songwriting like that. There's so many songs of hers that I'm just like, if I could ever write a song like that, then
Yeah. What do you think it is about Maisie Peters' songwriting for you?
I don't know, to be honest. I think her music is just like so personal to me. Like I have so many like I don't know, memories attached to listening to her songs. And it's just like they're fun and like if just like really listening to the words, they're like so deep and like
Totally.
powerful. And one of my all-time favorite songs of hers is called John Hughes Movie. Um, and it's just such a great song, and there's so many lyrics in that song that I'm constantly like reminding myself of in like some situations. And
Yes. I totally get that. It's so funny when some like, two bars of lyrics just like make their way into your daily life
yeah,
because that applicable. I think that's such a special thing.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, she's like and she's an artist that I just like I'm like I have to see her live one day. I have to see her in
Absolutely.
concert.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Yes. Yeah. Um, yeah, so if you had a warning label, what would yours say?
If I had a warning label, what would mine say? I think my warning label would probably say like caution, easily inspired. Because, and I know that kind of sounds cheesy, but like actually it's a problem sometimes. Anytime, especially growing up, like anytime I saw any like story of someone, you know, doing their thing and becoming successful with it, like that's what I wanted to do. Like obviously there's the obvious ones of like I saw the Justin Bieber first like Justin Bieber movie, Never Say Never, and I was like, okay, I want to be a pop star. I didn't do anything about it. I was like 8 or whatever. But even to the like degree of inspiration of like I saw The Social Network, which is a movie about Mark Zuckerberg creating Facebook and like everything that went wrong and like how messed up the process was. And I saw that as like a 10-year-old and I was like, all right, I want to make a social network now. Like I am just so easily inspired, which is great.
Yeah.
It's really fun and it's really fun for music because I find a new artist that I really like and like within a week I'm like totally impersonating their sound, but then over time I find a way to fold it into my like overall sound. So it's really great for music, but sometimes when I'm trying to finish songs and then a new album comes out by like an artist that I really like, I literally have to be like, I can't listen to this right now because I'm gonna get too influenced and then I'm gonna want to change everything that I'm doing. So like it's a blessing and a curse, but I love it. It like sends such a fire in me seeing someone find their exact lane and like and be able to do so many amazing things with it and like work super hard for it. That just like that gets me so excited.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. Um, yeah, so I am pop culture obsessed and I go in stages of shows that I cannot stop watching. Is
Hmm.
there a show that you are currently obsessed with?
There is. There is a show, but it might not be a traditional show that you might be thinking of. The show that I cannot stop watching right now, literally cannot stop. Every break I take, I watch the show. Shark Tank.
Oh,
I can't stop watching Shark Tank, and I didn't grow up watching Shark Tank with my family. I was never a Shark Tank watcher, but somehow I stumbled into like, oh, this would be like a fun thing, like Hulu, like, oh, let me just watch an episode of this just on a random day, and I love it. It's like I'm engaged. I'm like pretending that I'm like a billionaire. I'm like, oh yeah, that's not a great like customer acquisition cost. Like I've learned all these words that are like I don't know what to do with. But I think it's really interesting. I really like it. I mean, I've always loved reality, but I haven't watched it in a long time because I don't know. I feel like reality has gotten so crazy, especially like newer reality stuff. They've just been trying to beat themselves higher and higher, and it's just gotten like insane. And I don't love like all the toxic negative stuff. Sometimes it's really
yeah.
fun, but like week to week, I can't do that. I don't think it has a good effect on my brain. But this is like fun because it's like real. And these people are like have obviously like people coming into the tank, like they worked super hard on their product and also like they don't like send in gag ones. Like I don't know if you ever like used to watch any of the singing shows like American Idol
Yeah.
back in the day. They would like every third person was like someone who really was terrible so that it was like funny. But they don't do that. Like everyone's really like driven. And honestly, I've learned a lot because like you don't think about it, but being an independent small artist, like I am technically like running a business. So like taking that in and thinking about myself as like a product is super interesting. So anyway, Shark Tank, shout out to all the sharks. If you guys need an extra shark, I don't have money to invest, but I can give some great advice.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Um, so what genre of movie would your life story be told as?
Horror. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, it would probably be I guess it would have to be a musical. It would have to be like a musical now. Before I would have just said dramedy, but like I say how I feel in song. Like I literally do that in my everyday life. So I think it would have to be a musical also because I'm so manic sometimes with like my daydreams and what I'm imagining and my goals and how crazy one of my train of thoughts can be. So I think like little musical numbers would be really good to show that. And then yeah, I think a musical would be fun.
I love that. I love musicals, so I would watch that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get started on it.
Yeah. I'm excited to see it.
Yes. Yes. Me too.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so what song best describes your life right now?
That's a good question. I think it flips from day to day. The song that pops into my head is a song called Problem Solver by a guy named Slim Dan. It's a song about basically two people in a relationship and realizing that sometimes you don't need to solve your partner's problems. Sometimes they just want you to hear what they're saying and relate or just tell them like, yeah, that sucks. Like, I'm here for you. You don't always have to get like analytical with it. And like the reason I say that is because not necessarily that exact lesson. Like I learned that a while ago, but those are the lessons that I feel like I'm learning right now in my like I just entered my mid 20s, which is crazy. Um, but those are the kind of lessons like I'm learning is like more nuanced relationship type of things and not even relationships with necessarily my girlfriend, but with my friends, with my family, adult relationships are so different. I graduated a year and a half ago. This is my first time being like not forced to see anyone. There's no forced interaction. It's up to me. And so when it comes to interacting with family, interacting with friends, interacting with my girlfriend, like it's little things like that that I'm learning and I feel like represent this part of my life, at least personally.
Oh wow. I love that. Yeah. So what motivates you every day, even on days you aren't really feeling it?
I think I'm still figuring that out. I think that is a really good question, and it flips. But I'm trying to figure that out because I think for so long the motivation has been like a specific goal or a threshold or a certain amount of success. But what I'm learning is that if the goal is like something like that, something that you're chasing, it's good to have that as a goal, but you as a human, you're just going to keep moving the goalpost further. Like you're never going to actually achieve exactly what you're trying to get because once you're there, you're like, oh yeah, and now that I'm here, I want that thing, the next thing. And so I'm trying to figure that out for myself of like why am I doing it? And I think the thing that really motivates me is like the life I live right now and the life I have lived so far on a daily basis, I've been able to create and it's playful and it's fun, but it is a lot of hard work as well. But it is just like the most rewarding process. And I love to create and I love to start things and I love to finish things. And so to be able to continue doing that for the rest of my life, that's an amazing goal. And so that's kind of what I'm chasing. And, I'm trying not to be focused on necessarily like a certain amount of money or a certain amount of acclaim or awards or anything, but just being able to be in a place in my head where I'm getting to think of things and work hard to figure out how to execute them. That just feels like that would be amazing if I could keep doing that every day for as long as I am doing this stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Um, so what three words do you think best describe you?
What three words? Okay. Three words. Silly. Definitely silly. Silly in different ways over time. Uh, Definitely determined. Silly, determined, and I guess I would say like caring. I don't know, it sounds kind of
Yeah.
like egotistical, like, wow, I'm so caring. But I do feel like I really I really care for the people that are around me, and I really want to see them all like at their happiest. So I guess those three. Maybe I'll like wake up in the middle of the night and be like, no, it should have been crazy. It should have been cool. But I'll take those for now.
Yeah. Well, I love those. I think those are great ones.
Thank you.
Yeah. Um, so what is the biggest obstacle you have overcome?
Biggest obstacle I've overcome. Hmm. I think I'm overcoming it right now, and it's not professional, it's personal, but I think somewhere along the way, I just sort of became more like guarded, and became a lot more, for lack of a better word, like stingy with my emotions and my feelings, and what I was thinking, especially in like situations with maybe newer people and things like that. And I'm just working every day to just be a little bit more free in that, because it causes me a lot of anguish and a lot of anxiety and in places that I don't need to. And it makes me overthink, and it makes me like judge myself. It's just like I have like an internal block, little like voice that's like questioning maybe the thing that I'm gonna say, or things like that. And I'm lucky enough that I've had a lot of like good fortune when it comes to acting or music or film making or anything like that. So luckily, I don't really have like a huge obstacle for that. I've just had really great people around me and really great advice over time. So I think it's just like, a personal obstacle that I think, as I work through, I'll like get to know myself better, because I've learned like when it's all just happening in here, um, it becomes a lot bigger than it actually is. And when you talk it out with just one person or whatever, you realize it's getting very convoluted, and you realize very quickly what the problem is, how to solve it, and things like that. So just like being more free, being more open, being more myself with around others and in my relationships with others.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So do you have a go-to comfort show or movie that you turn on when you just want to tune out the world?
Yeah, I mean, I've never really been much of like a rewatcher. I just love to watch new stuff, but I will say, um, over the past like year, I have definitely rewatched a lot of The Office, and some Arrested Development as well. Yeah, I think it's probably The Office right now. When I got my cat, who is somewhere, I think she's like lurking under the covers, slowly making her way around the bed. But I started like rewatching it there as I would just like play with her and like raise her. So that was like my first rewatch of it. And now I just put it on literally just as you were saying, like when I'm just like when it's been a long day or like when I've been working all day and it's like time to eat lunch and I just like turn on The Office, watch it, just like,
Yeah,
you know, become
yeah,
non-human, just like a blob
yeah.
eating. So yeah, I think it would be that.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I have like just a list of ones that I just rotate between.
Yeah, what is it right now?
Yeah. Right now it's white collar, which it has been for several months. But yeah, it's like all white collar right now.
Solid. I guess it's
Yeah.
also Shark Tank, but I'm watching that for the first time.
Hmm. Yeah. I love that. Yeah, I watched White Collar all for the first time like several years ago, and then when it came back on, or and then at the start of the pandemic, I rewatched it again because that became my comfort show.
Yeah.
And I mean, it still is because now I've rewatched it so many times since then. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so I love inspiring and motivational quotes. And this week, my favorite quotation is if you're not dedicated to being yourself, you're missing out on life. Is there a quotation that has inspired you lately?
I'm not really I don't really take in a lot of quotes, but I was a philosophy minor in college, and there's the one by whoever. Obviously, I was a very good student. There's the one by whoever that's like all that I know is that I like don't know, basically saying like, you'd be a fool to think you figured anything out. And I think that's a nice one. I think it's good to just always pretend, and I definitely don't do this enough, but just always pretend or get in the headspace that like you're the dumbest in the room and just take in everything that's around you. And when you're attacking a new task, take that in. And when you're, for me, when I'm with another musician, like don't, lean into ego if they're going in a direction that, you know, disagrees with yours, like follow it. So I think that's been a big one for like collaborating and starting new things. And that's why like I only started music um almost 5 years ago now. And I feel like I've been able to grow so much because I haven't been like, well, I should have figured it out by now, or like get stuck in my ways. I'm just always chasing the next thing, which has made me learn so much.
Oh, I love that one. Yeah, I think that's a great quote. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
sorry to my philosophy professor, but I got the gist.
Yeah. Um, well, that was my final question for you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've just had the best time talking with you.
Of course, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
My question is, what do you love about interviewing people?
Um, I love getting to connect with people that have had such a huge impact, like their work has had such a huge impact on my life. And yeah, and connecting with people. Um, like interviewing has definitely helped my social skills a lot, which has been very nice. Um, so yeah, I love connecting with these people whose work has meant so much to me.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, you did it. You do a good job.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. Thank you. Yeah, and so again, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Same to you. Thank you to the audience.
Thank you.
Hope you
Yes.
enjoyed.
Yeah. Um, and that's a wrap on today's edition of The Latest with Maya.